Hello there. Today I'm just going to do a very quick, I promise, video on just a few things that I've been working on lately, and I was about to go to the post office and get rid of these things to send them off, and I thought no, I'd better just do a quick video. This is the little crochet, I showed you this before, the little crochet hook roll that I made for Hazel. It's her birthday coming up and this needs to get in the post. Fortunately, I made myself one at the same time, and I found, originally I made it without this additional flap, and I found that as I picked my roll up from the basket, several of the thinner crochet hooks fell out, and so I've just made a little flap that I hand stitched along the top, and with that folded in place across the top of the hooks and then rolled up. Nothing can fall out. So I just thought I'd update you with that. Plus I wasn't happy with the original belly band, so I've redone that and I put her name on it. So that's Hazel's finished and ready to go. Another thing I've been meaning to just very quickly is my big shot. Ages ago, years ago now, you can see this is an extremely worn and horrible old cutting plate, but I bought these magnetic sheets. This is a partially used one, as you can see. I've been chopping bits off the end and circles and things for other projects, but I think they're A5 when they're the full size. I just pulled the backing paper off, it's sticky adhesive on that side, and adhered it to the surface, one surface of my very old and about to be put in the emergency box for occasional use. I didn't want to put it onto a brand new one in case it didn't work, but it works quite well. Let me just grab, I'll show you. Grab a die here. It actually holds the dies nicely. You can't see through it obviously while it's down on the cutting surface and being rolled through, but because this sticks in, and I did this long before I got the magnetic platform. I now have a magnetic platform, but I find that when I put dies on it, they tend to shoot to wherever the magnet is the strongest. They don't sit still. They don't stay where I want them to stay. If I'm positioning them over a certain pattern or an area that I want to cut, they tend to sort of skew off because, as if they're going to where there's a stronger magnetic field. But this one always works. It's beautiful. Once it's gone through the cutting, the magnets simply adhere to it. You don't have to search for them or lose them, as I sometimes do. So I just thought I'd share that with you. It's an easy solution. Just a little tip from my craft room with the magnetic sheets. Certainly a lot cheaper than the magnetic platform. And as I say, I was quite disappointed with the with the effectiveness of the magnetic platform. And this one's still going. I just thought I'd show you these. I've been making a few more of the little lavender bags. I wanted to send some off to my friend Lynn in Yorkshire, where I sent her the journal some weeks ago, and it was her comment that made me think I should put a sachet inside the journal. So I've made her a couple. This little one, felt on the back, calico on the front, just a little naive embroidery on the front, and I did the blanket stitch with beads around the edges just to give it a little bit of pizzazz. And this one I just made a calico bag and filled it and then hand stitched on. This is a little tattered doily that I made many years ago, and this is just die cut from an old, I think it was a dressing table set, you know, the 3-piece, what are they called? Duchess set, I think they're called. I used to embroider them when I was a very small child, before I went to school, and this was one of those. They're very worn and tattered and certainly don't get used these days, so I thought, let's cut it out. So I got a circle die and cut it out. Again, went round with the same as this one, with blanket stitch but with smaller beads, and then I've just stitched that down on top. So that's a bigger one, not for a journal but perhaps for in her hanky drawer, and that one for in her little journal. I thought she might like those. And this little one I just tried. I thought, oh, what other shapes can you make? I thought of doing a heart, because I quite like the blanket stitch to hold the edges together. Again, this one's felt on the back because it's quite malleable and easy to use. Calico on the front. Again, blanket stitch with beads around the edges. And I've never done any fabric books, and it puzzles me quite how they're made. I've never really been that interested to do the research and find out how people adhere down the pages of their books and the different laces and bits and pieces that they use. I've never sort of been involved with anyone that actually makes them, but I think a lot of them are glued. I went to print off this lavender image onto some calico using the freezer paper, and in the past I've never had a problem. It's always just printed off beautifully, but this time my printer decided to have a nervy turn and it all buckled up, so I gave it up and I just printed them off on paper, and then I gave them a coat with Liquitex glaze or varnish, whichever one it is, and then I've been stitching some onto plain calico bags, but this one actually just adhered. I did a bit of text stamping at the back with grey in a small text font stamp. I think one of the Tim Holtz ones made it a dangle, and I'm sending this little one off to New Zealand to my friend Maggie. So cutting the oh, there's another one I've done. That was just, I do all these, have done these little stitches just on stitchings, just on bits of calico. I've got a whole heap of them. I think somewhere in the back of my head at one stage there was a mad idea to do perhaps a quilt, and I get my inspiration from these little books by Annie Down, who does lovely whimsical little projects, so that's where I get a lot of my inspiration from. I've put these onto these pieces. I haven't done all of these, but some of them I have. This one, for example, onto some iron-on interfacing, just a medium weight, to give it the stability to enable me to go around and stitch around them. So I've got a few more of those to finish off. I've probably got about a dozen in all that I've already had there. So I'll go and finish those, and that'll give me a nice supply, and it sort of gives me something small to pick up and stitch away at night. I think that's about it. I think that's about it from me for today. I just wanted to get those little bits and pieces documented before I get them into the mail. Using the die to cut out these images, not so much with this one, but this with the tag did too, because it had an indentation of little dots around the outline of the tag, and these ones where I cut them on my Big Shot left the indentation that occurs naturally from the inside of the die as it's cutting through, and it made it very simple to get the stitches fairly even because it gave this little indentation, so it worked quite well. I'm not renowned for getting my stitches even, but I found using the die to cut them out helped me enormously with that. Well, I think that's all the tips for today. I think I'll get these all packaged up and off to the post, and they'll be on their way. Okay, thanks for watching. Catch you soon. Bye now.